Today on Breaking 50, we need to discuss why you should be listening to what I have to say. And I really don't have a great answer other than the fact that I do believe I've been where you are, and I've made it out, and I wish to share that knowledge with you. I've done the research. I've changed my mindset. I have freed myself from the lies that we were told and worked within the system to build a debt-free and comfortable life for myself. I am asked on a daily basis how to do what I've done. And I feel the need to share that with all of you. So let me get a little more in-depth to my story. And we're going to start with the last time I found myself $40,000 in unsecured credit card debt. It all started about 2010. I had just started a decent job working for a corporation. It was more money than I had ever made just working a 9-to-5 job, but I found I could not make my bills. I was sliding further and further behind, and I didn't know how to get out. Every month I would have to put another 100 or 2 on a credit card just to feed my family of 5. And I would pray every night that nothing would go wrong with the house, or I had no cars that would break, because it would devastate me. And I'd have to get to work by either riding a bicycle or taking the bus. And sometimes I even had to beg for rides. It was humiliating. I decided it was time for me to figure this out. I had college education. I wasn't a dumb person. I just realized that my education had not covered the fact that I didn't know anything about finances. And that was hard to take. I started watching YouTube videos. I started reading books. I started trying to figure out what it was that I was missing. And what I was missing was the truth. The truth was I had to make more income and cut down on how much I let out every month of my bank account. See, I was living a life financially of an upside down funnel. I had the small end coming in, and the big end was going out. And I had to turn it over. But the first thing I had to do is believe I could do it. Because I had friends and family telling me every day, this is just the way it is. This is the way everybody lives. Don't fight it. Just deal with it. And sooner or later, you file bankruptcy and you're done. I didn't believe it. I had seen too many people living in nice houses, driving nice cars, going on vacations, and I'm not talking extravagant vacations. I'm talking about vacations at least to the next state. Was I not good enough for that? I thought I was. I think you are too. So, I dug my heels in. I made sure every morning before I did anything, I would get up, I would get into a warm shower first thing, and as the warm water would hit my body, I would sit there with my eyes closed and say, I am worth more than this. I am better than this. I could see myself every day debt-free, being able to take a vacation once a year, being able to not have to worry if a car needed tires, just so I could get to work. And I could see myself going to the grocery store and not having to worry, because the only way I could afford it was to put it on credit. I didn't want to be that person, and I know you don't either. So I had to see myself as something different than what I was. And I made a dedicated effort to do just that. I went and found one of those 90-cent composition books. You know, the ones with the black and white covers? On the front of it, I had to put my name, my full name. I filled in the date, and in the subject line, I put live life. This was going to be my guide to being able to live life instead of life dictating everything I did. It was my turn to take control. So the first thing I had to do was sit down on that first page, and I wrote out every expense I had. All 26 credit cards, the 2 mortgages, the light bill, the water bill, all these things that demanded that I pay out on a monthly basis. For me, this was an emotional process, because it was like dragging out all the dirty laundry that I had stuffed in the corners. As I went through and I saw all the credit cards and all the money I put out, I would neatly write them and etch them in my brain. And at the bottom, I did a monthly total. That took up an entire page. That's a lot of writing. That's a lot of emotional stress. On the back of that same page, I wrote my income. I had one form of income that was the every 2-week paycheck I got from my employer. I didn't have anything else to fall back on. I realized, looking at the difference between the 2 pages, that I was responsible to give away more than I brought in. And that was definitely not acceptable. Are you in that same situation? It sucks. It really sucks. But you really do need to do this. I needed at that point to have some sort of joy, some goal, some happiness in my life. So I decided that the next page would be something happier. And I put down on the first page the bills that I wanted to see paid every month. So I put a 10% reduced price on my electricity. I put a 10% reduced price on the water bill. I had put down my grocery bill would be 1/2 of what I spent now. This was what my goals would be. I had put down on this goal sheet 1 mortgage at a reduced price. I figured if I was going to dream, I was going to dream big. And once I got less than 1/3 of that paper filled out with what I needed to pay in my mind to be happy, I turned the page. And I started putting down incomes. I raised the income amount on my job by 25% every 2 weeks. That was my goal. I put down right next to it, other, and put $550. I didn't know what that other was, but it felt good to know that I wanted to make $550 somewhere else every month. And it felt good. So I did it again. I put another line that said other, and I put $200 next to that one, still not knowing what other was. But it was there, and it was a goal. And I figured if these 2 others would make me feel good, a 3rd one would make me feel great. So I'd put down a 3rd other, and right next to it I put $100. These were goals of mine. These were goals that I knew I could achieve. That would be 4 sources of income, and if one of them dropped off, the other 3 could help. And if one source of this income was good, and I could survive off of it on a regular basis, the other 3 could be squirreled away for times when I couldn't make it. And I would have a savings. That was my goal. That was my dream. So what did I do? I turned the page, and the first thing I wrote on there, I put a number 1 with an other question mark. I needed to figure out what that first other was. And I decided I was going to work on the $100 one. So I figured out what a side hustle was. I decided to do something that I could do around the house on a regular basis without having to leave the comfort of my own home. So I started making stickers. I had a vinyl plotter in the corner. You don't have to have a vinyl plotter. You just have to have something. And I made a small Etsy store. And I started selling decals. They weren't very much. They were just stickers that said, I believe, ... in myself. I believe, ... in you. Or stickers like, I am beautiful. I am amazing. And the one that sold the best was I am ... loved. I only made $1 per sticker, but I was starting to make money. And at the same time, that's when I realized that I could go to apartment complexes and look by the trash and pick up stuff that was sitting around along the trash that I could clean up and fix. And then I could sell it on Craigslist and Let Go and other websites in my area. And before I knew it, that $100 other was being supplied and fulfilled by stickers. And when I went back to the book to put that in there, I realized that other number 2 was being fulfilled by selling stuff on Craigslist. I was making an extra $300 a month. And I could put it towards building my side hustle and towards bills. This was exciting because at the same time, just making this decision, I started doing stuff like taking shorter showers, turning off lights, replacing light bulbs that burn out with the next smaller wattage, and nobody was complaining. And my electrical bills were going down. And my water bill was going down. And then I started paying attention to the meals we were eating and the extra snacks that we were buying and the amount of vegetables we were just throwing away on a daily basis. And I started volunteering to go to the store every other day to pick up vegetables so that we weren't throwing away 2 bananas, a half a head of broccoli. We weren't wasting celery and bell peppers because we forgot they were in the bottom of the refrigerator. I was starting to save on the output from my home. The funnel was starting to flip. And I believe this is what you can do. So if you would, right now, do me a favor, close your eyes. Relax and say to yourself, I am worth more than this. I am better than this. and I will make it happen. And say it as many times as you need to, because I believe in you and you deserve this. You can call me Kevin, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Breaking 50.